Okay. Hello. Thanks everyone for joining this presentation. So my name is Restudi Cahyanto. I'm a country sales manager of Grid Automation, GE Grid Solution Indonesia. So in this opportunity, I would like to bring a presentation regarding the energy transition, the challenges, and also the solution that we have to tackle this challenge. So as we know that based on Paris Climate Conference or a conference of the party, we call it COP21, there is a goal to limit the global warming is below 2 degrees Celsius or even try to reduce below 1.5 degrees Celsius. And then government of Indonesia, in line with that target, has targeted for the carbon neutral by 2060. And then in line with that also, PLN, as part of the government, also commit to achieve the energy mix of renewable power around 23% by 2025. And then in line with that, in RUPTL 2021-2030, PLN also has targeted the additional of renewable power around 51% or equal to 20.9 gigawatt from the total of additional power up to 2030 around 40.6 gigawatt. And then to be able to achieve that kind of target, PLN has a plan such as to retire around 1.1 gigawatt of coal-fired power plant in 2030, and then also targeted the dieselization for the diesel power plant and convert become a solar power plant and also battery. As we already know that with more renewable power connected to the grid, it become another challenge for the grid operator, such as the stability of the system due to the intermittency of the renewable power. To be able to cater this kind of issue, PLN need to find the solution in order the grid stability can be maintained. So here in this presentation, I will bring some of solution that GE has to cover this kind of solution. So here we can see the trend of disrupting the power sector from the generation up to T&D, the transmission and distribution. So first is decarbonization. So by 2040, renewable will represent around 30% of global net electricity or even more. So as the impact, the generation is becoming difficult, and then the forecast and also more variable. And then there is also impact on the grid stability, congestion, on the volatility on the electricity market. Second is digitization. So there will be growing the number of connected devices and also smart sensor. So the impact it is allowing decision making based on the dynamic and nodal prices. And then the third one is decentralization, which is there is a growing penetration of distributed resources such as renewable power, storage, and also application of more efficient devices. So as the impact now end user become an active actor of the power system, or we call it prosumer, and then growing complexity of distribution grid. And then the last one, this is related to the electrification in energy ecosystem. So electrification of energy uses like electrical vehicle and also application of heating equipment in the household. So as the impact, there is growth of electricity demand and acceleration of decentralization of the power sector. So here are some of GE solutions to tackle these challenges. First is a digital substation. And then the second, what we have is microgrid. And then the third one is defense scheme, or we can call also SIPs, or even people outside can call it as WAMPAC, Wide Area Monitoring and Protection and Control. So the first solution that we have is digital substation. So as we know that many substation in PLN system was built a long time ago. So it's not yet modernized and then upgrade to be able to cater the condition like today. So what need to be done by PLN to be able to meet with the current condition? So upgrading the existing substation to become digital substation is really mandatory in order the service and also the performance of PLN can be maintained. So here about digital substation definition, we can see here first definition of digital substation is converting the data. So in this digital substation, we are turn all the analog interface become digital data at each level. And then the second is shared data. So within the digital substation, there is possibility of sharing the digital data between devices at each level or even between level. And also the data that we have here, we can do a process, analyze, and do acting on the data that we have on each level. So here is the picture showing the digital substation application. So the main difference in the digital substation actually on the side of the sensing of instrument transformer. As of today, for the conventional substation, the sensing of the current and then the voltage, they are still using the conventional CT and VT. And then from the CT and VT, it will be wired up to the relay protection inside the control and protection room. Meanwhile, for the digital substation application, the function of this current and voltage sensing, where before we are still detecting the current and voltage, now it is converted become a data. For example, like we have here, the device of the instrument transformer. Now we can change from the conventional one become a digital. So from this digital instrument transformer, it can be, it can be used to sense, to do sensing of the current and voltage. From this instrument transformer, it will be wired up to the relay inside the control and relay protection. But again, the input that we take from this instrument transformer, it is no longer current or voltage, but it's already converted become a data. And then also in this digital substation, we can also applying like online and monitoring diagnostic. For example, we can use online monitoring diagnostic in the transformer side. And then also we can install like a monitoring diagnostic in the circuit breaker equipment. By having this kind of monitoring and diagnostic equipment, we can pull many data from the equipment that we have on site. By having also this data, then operator and also engineer on site can analyze when actually the equipment need to be under maintenance and also when need to be replaced for the component, something like that. So meaning by having this data, engineer or also operator, they can define the maintenance plan to avoid any unplanned outages, something like that. The main difference also with the conventional substation is on the side of the connection from the switchyard to the control relay room. As we can see here in the past, there are many cable laying from the side of switchyard up to the relay panel. So it makes the quantity of cable and also size of cable trends is big. And then now, by having digital substation, there is only limited cable to be laid from the switchyard up to the control room. Because the cable now we use from the instrument transformer, for example, up to the control room, the utilization of copper wire will be replaced by a fiber optic cable, which means the size of the cable trenches later on can be reduced, something like that. And then here I would like to show also the devices inside of the digital substation. So we can see below here with my cursor. So this is called merging unit and switchgear controller. So the function of these devices actually to convert from the instrument transformer outside the room become a data, something like that. And then for this one, this is the protection relay, which is used for the protection and also control of the system. And then from the side of control room, it will be connected to the control room where operator can operate and also monitor the system through this place. So don't need to go to the CRP room or to the outside to operate and monitor the equipment. And then by having this kind of digital substation, it can answer of substation owner challenges in terms of safety, operation, reliability, and also environmental issue. So here we go to the next slide. So this is related to the solution benefit of digital substation. So on the side of switch yard, by having this digital substation, it can eliminate up to 33% of circuit breaker termination. And then it is more secure and efficient of exchanging the data by utilizing the 61850 protocol process bus. And then in terms of digital instrument transformer, it can reduce the civil work by up to 70%. On the side of the cable trenches also, it can save up to 80% on the material and trenches work. And also it can reduce the requirement of the greenfield application. On the side of the protection and control devices, so it can reduce up to 50% of protection and control labor costs. And then it can eliminate up to 80% of termination and reduce space requirement. And then inside of the relay room, so ultimately it can reduce the substation footprint up to 50%. And then it can reduce the protection and control panel size by up to 80%. And then related to the site activity, it can reduce up to 30% of site acceptance test time. So this is all the benefit that we get when we are applying the digital substation system in our system. But again, this kind of benefit will depend on the condition of actual cost country to country. So the second solution that we have for this kind of energy transition challenge is microgrid. So what is microgrid? So we can see here a microgrid is a group of interconnected load and distributed energy resources with clearly defined electrical boundaries that act as a single controllable entity with respect to the grid. And then this microgrid also can connect with the system grid, or it could be also off grid, meaning that in island mode. And then what is inside of this microgrid? So as we can see here, this microgrid will include the DER, or it stands for distributed energy resources, and also load. And then there is also defined geographic footprint. And then usually it is connected to a central grid. There will be also transition between mode, advanced control, single controllable unit to the BPS, and also flexible system operation. We can see here also what is the function of microgrid. So the microgrid itself, it has a few functions such as a control function, and then optimization function, advanced function, and also market participation. So inside of this control function, there are many functions inside, such as planned and unplanned islanding, which is ability the system to transition between the grid connected mode and island mode. And then the synchronization, which is ability to seamlessly transition from the island mode to the grid connected mode. And many more functions under this control function that the customer can apply when they are applying this microgrid system in their existing system. Another function that we have is advanced function, where here we have a seamless unplanned islanding. So our solution has ability to perform adaptive fast load shedding to facilitate seamless unplanned islanding for reliability-centric of microgrid. And then related to the optimization function, we also have several functions here, like optimal dispatch, state of charge management, forecasting, and also PV smoothing. And then for the function of market participation, by having this microgrid solution, it has ability to integrate our system into the energy market. So here are the pictures showing the implementation or application of the microgrid. So the microgrid itself, it can be applied something like in utility system, and then in campus, or even in remote location. It could be also applied in military bases, in smart city, and also industrial. So here I will explain more detail related to the application of our microgrid in the remote location. As we can see here, this is an architecture of microgrid application for the remote location. So if we can see here, inside of the microgrid, it will consist of a few items. First is related to the controller. As we can see here, the black one, this is the microgrid automation control system. So this microgrid controller, it will connect it to each of the IEDs scattered on the power source as well as the load. We can see here, each of the power sources as well as load, it should be equipped with the IED. This IED itself, it can be supplied by GE, or it can use the existing IED already supplied by the existing power sources, or even in the load side also possible we can use the existing IED on the load side. And then from all of this IED, it will connect it to the microgrid controller. And then from the microgrid controller, it will be able to be monitored through an HMI we call energy management system. And then we can see here also, as already mentioned before, that inside the microgrid, it's not only the controller, but it is also consists of the power sources, such as here we can see on the left top is the distributed energy resources. It can consist of wind turbine, solar PV, and also battery storage. And then also as a backup, customer also can use diesel or gas generation or fuel cell. And then from the load side, it can be residential, like we can see here, the blue one here, the right and the left. It also could be a school or campus inside. And also it can also inside of the system is critical load, something like the industrial and then building or offices, and also for the purpose of the electrical vehicle charging, something like that. So this is the complete solution or the complete system of microgrid. Here we can see this is the project reference that GE has now. So for example, what we have here is Semakau Island in Singapore. So the challenge they face is how to bring the cost reliable and also cost effective power to this remote community. So what is the solution from GE? So GE has islanded microgrid system utilizing GE advanced technology and solution to deliver. So here are the optimization that we can achieve by having this microgrid. So we can do the optimized scheduling of distributed energy resources and also maximizing of the renewable sources with reduced operational losses and costs. And then improvement of system observability or local state estimation. What is inside of the GE portfolio to solve or to help a customer within this microgrid solution? So we have from the side of the monitoring system, such as the network management system, distributed energy resources management. And then for the communication, we have the Ethernet switches. And also for the wireless one, we have the MDS Orbit Radio platform. And then for the intelligent control, we have the controller called GPG or G Power Gateway, and also the IED or protection and control relay. And then in terms of the main equipment, we have a solution like the power transformer, we have the circuit breaker and also disconnector. And also we have the solution of the gas insulated substation, including the gas insulated line. So here are the benefit of the microgrid solution. So GridNode solution, GE GridNode microgrid solution consists of GE design, developed and validated advanced function block, and then vendor agnostic solution. So our product are able to integrate with the third-party IEDs, switches, and also DER asset. And then partnership. GE partner with industry-leading company to provide our customer with the full microgrid solution. So we will pull together and lead a team to work with our customer from a project development through execution or even operation and ownership in order to meet our customer need. And then next is GE services. So GE Grid Automation provide a full range of engineering and consulting, integration, testing, and support services as part of our solution. And then the main benefit of this kind of microgrid solution, it can increase the reliability and flexibility of the system. It can reduce the energy costs and also increasing the revenue as well as increasing the resiliency. So next, the solution that we have to solve the energy transition challenge, we call it defense scheme, or SIPS. It stands for System Integrated Protection System. So actually this defense scheme or SIPS used in the application of interconnection system. So this interconnection system could be between two or more regions, two or more utilities within a region, or it could be also two or more states or countries. So where on one region will have a generation surplus and other region may have a generation shortfall, interconnecting can maintain the stability of both the region. And then why need this interconnection? So by interconnecting two or more separate power system, it can improve stability in each system by helping the other balance the generation as well as the load. And then both systems are now able to share generation and help the other serve load if they experience a generation shortfall. The other benefit that we can get from this interconnection is customer or operator can take advantage of lower cost generation sources. And then the last one, renewable energy projects are triggering more interconnection. So here are some of the challenges in the interconnection system. As we can see here, there are four challenges faced by interconnection system, such as overloading interconnect. So normally it happens when a major generation loss in the network. For example, here happened in the network B. So network A will provide surplus to the network B due to the generation is shut down. So when the system is still unbalanced, then there will be a load shedding on the network B, like the chart. I mean the chart shown here. So to be able to balance the system, the load on the B side or B network, it should be shared, something like that. The next one is the challenge of under frequency or under voltage. So it happened, for example, when a generation on the network A is shut down. So as the impact, the network B cannot receive the needed power from the network A. So there is a loss in reactive power also result in under voltage condition. So to be able to balance and solve the condition, the load must be shared on the network B and also network A. So by having this treatment, then interconnection power flow is not exceeded. And then for the third challenges is related to the major load loss in network A. We can see here. So when there is a lot of losses in the network A, so there is no need additional power in the system. So to be able to balance the load and also the power sources here, the generation on the network A and network B should be curtailed. So then after that, it can balance the power as well as the load in this system. And then capacity of interconnection is not exceeded. The last one is related to the inter-area oscillation. So large disturbances in a network can cascade to interconnected network, which is causing inter-region oscillation, where if it grow big enough or allow for a long time, it can cause both network to collapse. So how to solve this issue? To solve this issue, it can be by attempt to dampen the oscillation by doing such as trigger damping circuit or shed the load, or could be drop the generation, and also by having the bypass series capacitor. When the treatment already done above is not work, so it could be that the interconnection should be disconnected. So this is the solution how to dampen the oscillation happen in the system. So this is the sample or experience that we got from the continental Europe, where in the continental Europe happen of the separation power flow in the Ernesti Novo substation, where it leads to the shifting of power to the adjacent line, which is resulting the overload. And then within 250 milliseconds, real cascading start to happen. And then line Subotica Novi Sad in Serbia trip due to overcurrent, followed by other tripping. And then the northwest and also the southeast area were separated due to unplanned outages of several transmission networks in a short time. So as the consequences of this separation, so in northwest area, due to the under frequency, the contracted interruptible services in France and Italy, in total around 1.7 gigawatt, were disconnected in order to reduce the frequency deviation. And then on the southeast area, due to there is a large of over frequency, so automatic and manual countermeasure were activated, such as the reduction of the generation unit in order to stabilize the frequency. By having this kind of contingency scheme, actually it can act within 100 milliseconds to set the prioritized and unimportant load as per requirement. And also overloading of adjacent line could also be avoided. And separation and its post consequences could also be avoided with this kind of contingency scheme. So here we would like to highlight the solution that we have related to the example happened in in the Ernest Dinovo substation in Croatia. So we call here the solution is contingency action solution. So the system work by measure the power flow at all key point on the network, and then it will detect the disturbance in one part of an interconnected network that could result in, for example, interconnection overloading, under over frequency condition, under over voltage scenario. The action solution also can be taken less than 250 milliseconds to stabilize the load and also generation across the network. So the treatment itself, it could be load shedding or generator dropping. And as the ultimate solution, it can also be tripping the interconnection. And then what is the key characteristic of this solution? So it is support the existing protection and metering devices and protocol. It can support complex network topologies. And then it has an advanced notice of interconnection trip to operator. And also we have a customized HMI. So these intelligent monitoring devices put across the network and then connected centrally to the grid node controller to execute contingency action. So here is the second solution related to our SIPS solution. This is related to detection and dampening of system oscillation. So how the system is work? So it is measure the power flow at all key points on the network. It is detecting the network oscillation and determine whether the system can heal by themselves or not. So if, for example, the system cannot heal by themselves, so then the action can be taken in millisecond or second time, depending on the oscillation frequency. When it is determined that the oscillation will not heal by themselves, so our SIPS or SIPS system will dampen the oscillation through a few steps as below. First is triggering of the power system stabilizer, and then bypassing series capacitor, temporary load shedding, generator dropping, and then when all the solution is not able to meet with that, to heal the oscillation, it can be also tripping the interconnection to dampen the oscillation happen in the system. So in this dampening system oscillation solution, there is a PMUs detecting oscillation put across the network and then connected centrally to the grid node controller to trigger dampening action. So what is the component inside of this defense scheme or SIPS solution? So what we have here, we can see at the right side, this is the controller called GPG grid node, or GPG stand for GE Power Gateway. So this controller will be connected with the devices scattered on the substation in the system. So it can use a protocol of DNP3, IEC 104, Modbus, Argus, C37, IEC61A50. And then from this controller, it can be monitored or connected through the HMI for the operator interface as well as for the event recording. And also inside this GPG controller, it has a real-time application engineered function block such as network load shedding, generation management, microgrid control, SIPS, and also it has a customized application such as configurable real-time logic engine. And then related to the measurement equipment, for example, for the contingency action solution, we have our product such as a protection relay and meter, and then also can comply with the protocol of DNP3, IEC 101, 103, Modbus, Argus, Synchrophaser C37, and also protocol 61850. And then for the oscillation detection and remediation, we have a product such as a phasor measurement unit, protection relay with the PMU capability, and also Synchrophaser C37.118 protocol. And then related to the communication equipment, for the communication within substation, we have solution here below on the left side, the Ethernet switches and also media protocol converter. And then for the wide area communication, we have a product called Sonet multiplexer, Ethernet backbone, and also wireless radio. So here is the experience or reference of GE SIPS project in the past. So here is a reference in Turkish and NTSOE interconnection, where it is interconnection between Turkey and NTSO grid in Europe. So first of its interconnect between European grid, which has a strong source, and Turkey's grid, which has a weak source. So due to these differences in the source, any major disturbance in the network would be slow to stabilize, resulting in oscillation across the interconnect. So GE oscillation detection solution can monitor the active power flow between Turkey and Bulgaria and Greece. So upon detection of the oscillation, GE solution will shed the load up to 1,400 megawatt across 15 substations located in Istanbul region to dampen the oscillation. So this is the second experience and reference that we have in Europe. So this is related to the Channel Island electricity grid between UK and then connection with the RTE France. So this SIPS has a function to supervise the CIEG grid cable and circuit and to provide load shedding function as required in response to fall or tripping of any circuit on the network. So the system can respond within 120 millisecond time. And then it has an HMI and setting fully configurable, and then has a function of priority selection, configurable WAP scenario, and also trip prediction. By having this trip prediction, it will allow operator to act before the fall is occur. So here is the detailed architecture related to our reference for the Channel Island electricity grid UK connection with the RTE France. So that's all my presentation related to GE solution on how to tackle the energy transition in Indonesia, and also could be happen in other country. So for any question related to this presentation, you can contact myself. My name is Rusdi Cahyanto. I'm a country sales manager of Indonesia. And then also here I attach our CAP growth leader for this solution, Mr. Adam Kreb. So again, thank you for your time to join this presentation. Thank you, everyone. Bye.